And so for all of us that have such a hard time forgiving, what we need to do is ask God to help us. And what I want to talk to you today about is unforgiveness. Unforgiveness is the number one way where we begin to lock ourselves behind a prison door, where we cannot seem to love the Lord, be intimate with the Lord, begin to love other people the way we really want to. We're behind prison doors. If you've ever been through a divorce, it is hard to trust anyone again. If anyone that you've ever loved has hurt you, it is so hard to ever trust them again. Forgiving is not a mental decision. Forgiving is not an emotional decision. Forgiving is a supernatural process where the presence of God, the Holy Spirit, touches your heart to give you the ability to forgive. Are you with me? Forgiveness is a hard thing. It's a hard thing. But when the Holy Spirit touches your heart, it becomes a natural thing. And so for all of us that have such a hard time forgiving, what we need to do is ask God to help us. I find it so difficult to forgive a person that has sinned against me over and over again. It's kind of like a pattern. It's very, very difficult. Let me refer back to Peter because he had a big problem forgiving people. In Matthew chapter 18, verse 21 and 22, he comes to the Lord and he says this as he comes to him. He says, "Lord, how many times should I forgive someone for sinning against me?" And he decides that he is really going to impress the Lord when he says, 7? And Jesus answered back, "No, not 7, 70 times 7. Now, 7 times is a lot. 70 times 7 is inconceivable. But when you study the Greek on that verse, the request of the Lord, the demand of the Lord becomes overwhelming to the point that we have to have the Holy Spirit to reach it. Because when you study the Greek, it's 70 times 7. This isn't Greek. This isn't just simple mathematics. I said simple mathematics. 70 times 7, that's 490. He's saying forgive 490 times. Now, here comes the Greek. Forgive that same person for the same thing on the same day 490 times. The same person for the same thing on the same day 490 times. And if we ever get tired of forgiving a person over and over, we can stop when we get tired of the Lord forgiving us over and over again. You can stop forgiving that person over and over again when you're okay with being forgiven over and over again. You say, I don't see the parallel. You cannot ask for something that you are not willing to give. That is a prideful position to come before the Lord and say, I'm sorry for my sins. Again and again, I keep asking you to forgive me. And I'm sorry for that. Most of us in this room don't stumble over a dozen different areas in our life. We have an Achilles heel, but we seem to stumble over the same thing over and over again. And we come to the Lord over and over again, and we say, I did it again. When the person does it again and again, we've got to find the grace of God, because it's not natural. You will not receive the grace of God unless you ask for the grace of God.